Welcome to Just Kick It with Big Bob, where I share my 2 bobs worth with you, whether you like it or not. The coaches have a big job. There's no 2 ways about it, and you can't argue with that. And it's in the off-season that they have the rare opportunity to take a deep breath, relax with a cool drink or 2 by the pool or at the beach, wherever you prefer, and take stock as they reconfigure their navigational tactics to keep the wheels turning and the lights on during the long and emotionally draining season they face in the not-too-distant future, when they will have their feet under the desk and their hands on the reins with no time to reflect as they deal with the things that they have to deal with, as the unrelenting season undulates and pulsates week in, week out with no let-up. No doubt they will ponder the unfathomable as they don the flippers and snorkel and muse at the wonders of the underwater marvels far away from the cut and thrust of the game, enamoured of which by so many as it is. Inevitably their minds will drift with the tides as they muse. Can they control defence through offence, so that accountability-wise the system they attempt to execute, built as it is on building belief on a game plan that may well be fundamentally flawed when one compares apples with apples, will it let them down when the pressure gauge goes up and the game is there to be won or lost as the case may be? And when it comes down to the bricks and mortar of the game, and what a taxing game it is for all concerned, unless the foundations are strong, and well, the whole thing can topple over like a house of cards, give or take the possibility of a boil over that may crop up from time to time in the hurly-burly of the season. However, could this be a recipe for disaster if all players are not tuned into the same frequency when all is said and done, as there are so many question marks and so few answers? You make up your own mind. And the long-suffering barrackers are the ones that suffer most of all, as after the final siren blows, they drag themselves to the bus stop to face another dreary week on the production line or in the nondescript back office of their dead-end workaday lives. It's been the same thing in the modern game since the year dot all over the world, but we'll park that to one side for now and consider the groundbreaking and trailblazing methods that have gained meterage over recent season. Sure, they ask a lot of the players, but they are professionals and as such need to be up and about, stay ahead of the curve and have the ability to flick the switch when required, and not to break down big time at ground level when it comes to getting over the line in the sand of the final siren blows and continue on their merry way, taking their hard-bitten, dyed-in-the-wool supporters along for the ride of a lifetime and giving them cause to roll out the red carpet that they so richly deserve and carve for themselves a special place in the history of the game. If only it were that simple, Wally. Notwithstanding the above, it's above the ears and between the neck that coaches must concern themselves with, quite frankly, in this day and age, and I make no apologies in so saying so. And I'm thinking here, as you've no doubt already guessed, of both cognitive diffusion and metacognitive distancing. As I've said before, it ain't what you know that defines you as a coach, but what everyone else doesn't know. At the same time, retaining a resilience in the physical sense of the terminology, insofar as avoiding serious injuries. And I'm thinking here of ruptured abductors, tweaked monkey muscles and copped corkies, not to mention pelvic problems that inevitably crop up from time to time, in addition to the prevalence of sacroiliac joint problems that seem to be in the ascendancy. Apologies, folks. Wally's just clearing his throat. Where was I? Yes. And while it may sound like a lot of smoke and shadows behind the mirrors, there is veracity to be found if you have the players with the required tenacity, as demonstrated by those top-ranking players who contribute week in, week out with the 1%ers, the meat and 3 veg players, the 360-degree players who can identify opportunities, endure the headwinds, to string together consecutive look-ins and give their forwards a chance to kick the gettable goals and construct a winning score. Now, that may sound like, without wishing to state the obvious, a deconstruction of performativity. Well, all I can say is, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, and you know the rest. Plenty of food for thought there, Wally. Until next time, this has been Big Bob, sharing my 2 bobs worth with you, whether you like it or not. Over and out. Flying too high with some bird in the sky is my idea of nothing to do, yet I get a kick. Such a kick.